students. So today we are going to start with a new chapter, that is chapter number 7, evolution. Okay. So before we go into details of how various organisms have evolved, let us know a few facts. The universe was formed about 20 billion years ago. The earth was formed about 4.5 billion years ago, and life originated about 4 billion years ago. So these are considered to be some approximate facts. So the conditions, what were the conditions when life originated on Earth? There are various conditions. Firstly, the temperature was very high. Secondly, the gases were lighter. Lighter gases existed, like methane, ammonia, etc. Then elements were heavy. Heavy elements existed. Heavy elements like iron, nickel, etc. Then there were UV rays. These UV rays favored photochemical reactions. Most importantly, when these conditions existed, the atmosphere was deprived of oxygen. So atmosphere did not contain oxygen. So the atmosphere was reduced. So after these conditions, we have to know various theories that gave us some knowledge about how life came into existence. So theories of origin of life. Theories of origin of life. The first theory, remember, it was the theory of special creation. Theory of special creation. So according to this theory, life was created in heaven by God and was placed on earth. Life was created in heaven by God and was placed on earth. For example, you have to remember, like it has been given in the Bible about Adam and Eve. So Adam and Eve was created in heaven by God and was placed on the earth. So theory of special creation says this. The next theory is the theory of abiogenesis. Theory of abiogenesis. So according to this theory, like abiogenesis means non-living. So abiogenesis, life was created from non-living things. Life was created from non-living things. Now this theory was given by von Helmont. Von Helmont. So life was created from non-living things, given by von Helmont. An example of this theory is, it has been said that the mud of Nile River gave rise to organisms. Okay, so this is the first theory, this is the second theory. After abiogenesis, the next theory is biogenesis. So according to the theory of biogenesis, life originated from pre-existing life forms. Now, abiogenesis meant non-living. Biogenesis means living. So, life originated from pre-existing life forms, means life forms which already existed on Earth. Now, in order to support this theory of biogenesis, 3 experiments were done. Now, we have to know these 3 experiments. The first experiment was given by Francisco Redi. Now, according to Francisco Redi, what did he do? He took 3 jars. What he took? Freshly cooked meat in the jars. Okay, he took freshly cooked meat in the jars. He took 3 jars. Now, the first jar was covered by parchment membrane. First jar was covered by parchment membrane. The second jar was covered by muslin cloth, and the third jar was left open. So what he observed was that in the first and second jar, he did not observe anything. But in the third jar, there were certain flies surrounding the jar, and there were certain larvae surrounding the meat. So, he concluded that these flies and larvae came from pre-existing life forms. That means these jars were closed, so no organisms could enter. So, from the meat, no organisms were created. But according to this, the open jar created certain organisms. How? Because it was open. So the flies came and covered the meat, and from those flies there were certain larvae. Okay, so these larvae came from the flies that were already existing. So Francisco Redi gave this experiment. Next, after Francisco Redi, another scientist, Spallanzani also did the same experiment. He took 3 jars, but along with that he took hay infusion. He did not take meat, he took hay infusion. Okay, the same experiment. Then after Spallanzani, experiment was done by Pasteur. So Pasteur's experiment is important. This comes in exam sometimes. His experiment is swan neck experiment. Now, what is swan neck experiment? He took a round bottom flask like this, where he took certain sugar and yeast. He took sugar and yeast. Okay, so what he did, this neck part was heated and bent. So the neck became bent like this, like a swan. So this is known as swan neck experiment. So after bending, he sealed it. Now what he found? When this flask was sealed or closed, there was no organism. But when he observed there was no organism, what he did? He broke the neck. This was broken. After breaking it, he saw certain organisms here, like flies. So even he proved it that organisms came from pre-existing life forms. Then after this, this is biogenesis. After biogenesis, the fourth theory is panspermietic theory. Panspermietic theory. Now what is panspermietic theory? According to this, life forms originated in space and came to Earth as spores. According to this theory, life forms originated in space and it came to Earth as spores. Okay, so here we have seen 4 theories of origin of life. First is theory of special creation. Next is abiogenesis, biogenesis. There are 3 experiments relating to this. Then panspermietic theory. In the next class, we'll start with modern theory. Okay, thank you.